Hi, I am Jan Reardon, and I am representing the Jennifer Reardon Foundation. I am a board member, and I'm very happy to be here with my guest today that I'll introduce you to. And again, we focus in on the 4 pillars of Jen's foundation, which would be women's empowerment, financial literacy, early childhood education, and the big one for always, and today especially here with my guest, is community vitality. And actually, we like to call it community vitality. It's also like community vibrancy is what I think of too. And when, I'm going to save that part, I'm just going to introduce you and I can talk about why I feel as though it is so vital to our community. But I have the pleasure of welcoming Christina Erickson, who is the Executive Director of Local Motion, which is right around the corner, which didn't matter. She biked over, even if it was further away, that wouldn't have mattered by the sounds of things. But I am just so pleased because I think it was in 1999 when Local Motion began, and I remember it then, and then all of a sudden, here we fast forward, and as you mentioned, I mean, getting ready to celebrate, 25 years. So anyway, let me just turn this over to you and say thank you so much for being here. And I'd like to begin, if you could just give us a little bit of information regarding the mission of Local Motion and the vision that you have, and then we could get into a few specifics about all the different programs that you oversee.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, Jan.
Thank you so much. It's great to have you here, Christina.
So Local Motion is Vermont's statewide bicycle and pedestrian advocacy organization, and we founded in 1999, and we're really more based specifically in the Burlington area, but now we have been statewide since about 2015.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because I was thinking back in 99, I didn't realize that, as I look at the website, all the different things that are truly statewide versus then, and again, I mean, so much happened in Chittenden County over these years, so I thought, how do you do anything beyond that? But obviously, as you continue, you'll talk about all the different things that you've done in addition to Chittenden County.
Yeah, so that founding was really about creating a continuous path along the waterfront. And so it was very early days. And actually recently at our 25th anniversary party, I was commenting, I've lived in Burlington since 2006. So for me, the bike path has always been there. The ferry, the bridge over the Winooski has always been there. The ferry has always been there. But for those who have lived here a little longer,
to see that evolve
was
massive. Remarkable. Yes.
And so much work from the predecessors who put just lives into this work. So we started with the bike ferry over the Winooski River.
So let's talk a little bit about the bike ferry, because I feel badly that I have not been on the bike ferry, and I want to be. I've said that for years. So tell us a little bit about the bike ferry itself.
Sure. So it currently resides out at the Colchester Causeway.
Okay, yeah.
Of course.
Never feels, no, that happens to me all the time.
I know. Like,
so you can connect right at the end of the causeway.
Yep.
That's where you go on the ferry, and then where do you go?
So it brings you over, or if you're heading southbound, it connects South Hero to Colchester.
Oh, okay, South Hero, then that's what I wasn't sure of. So how long does the ferry take?
12 minutes. It's 200 feet. It's the best 12-minute boat ride you've ever had.
So beautiful,
and beautiful.
I bet. Yes.
And people love it. And we have visitors come from all over the country, all over the world, and certainly locals love it too. So that has really been a mainstay institution for Local Motion since the beginning. But in 2015, where there had also been a statewide bicycle and pedestrian organization, a coalition, and they merged with us in 2015.
Oh, good.
And now I'm going to cough again.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's this time of year. I think at the last show that we did last month, I barely had a voice, so you're doing really well. Right?
And I think I just held my breath, and anyway.
Right.
I'll
so
start
now,
again.
how many people can get on the ferry?
So the ferry holds approximately 20 people and their bicycles.
Yes. And then how, I was going to ask you about that. Not how long it takes, but there was some other question I had about the ferry. Okay, you just go ahead and I'll think about it later. Because as I was reading about it, I wanted to ask you on that.
Yeah, so it's our 5th actual boat since that time of when we started, and we are actually planning the stages of the next boat.
And what changes with the boats over time?
Oh,
have they gotten
size.
bigger? Right.
Yeah, the first one had, I think, 4 or 6 passengers on it.
Wow, so
and
it
was
has
sort
come
of
a long way.
homegrown situation.
Right.
Now we are a fully Coast Guard approved, certified vessel.
Oh, good, thank you. And that's what I wanted to ask you. How, like as far as being able to get on there, like what is the cost of that?
Sure. Well, since the pandemic, we have been running on a donation-only basis. We used to sell daily tickets and seasons tickets, but pandemic changed some of the operational
Sure.
things. And we found out this works better. So we call it the everybody rides model. So
And what's the schedule like?
it runs during most of the summer, runs daily. In the earlier season and right now in the fall, it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only.
Wonderful.
From about 10 to 5 or 10 to 6, depending on the
And
day.
every 20, 30
Just
minutes?
back and forth, kind of continuous.
Oh, beautiful.
And
so you miss it, you really,
wait.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful spot
Oh,
to
exactly.
wait.
I was
most
just going to
days.
say that. That's a pretty quick wait. I'm sure that goes by fast. That's ideal. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so with that ferry, which brings us, a lot of love from all over the place, which is
Exactly.
great. But it also, our work is statewide. And so while people know us for the ferry, people should also know us for the statewide work that we do. And so that coalition that existed prior and merged into us really opened the opportunity for us to replicate some of the work that we've been doing here in Burlington and Chittenden County to the rest of the state.
So what else would you say comes to mind for you as far, is there another ferry anywhere or what is the projects that are going on somewhere else outside of Chittenden County?
Yeah, it's mostly technical and community organizing assistance for people who might be citizen advocates, they might be municipal leaders who want to improve their bikeable and walkability of their community. So we can come in and help anything from facilitate a meeting to help connect people where federal or state dollars or local
That's what I was
dollars are
wondering with
available.
yes.
We don't do engineering, but we connect with
All those resources.
to do that. So that's a big one. And then also, since 2016, we've been coordinating the Safe Routes to School program, which is statewide.
Right.
And that is exactly what it sounds like, making sure there are safe routes for children and their families to get to school.
Love
which
it.
sounds so simple, but
It wasn't.
it's not.
Right.
And it's still, we've seen definitely improvements, but for people who live, let's say half a mile or a mile, if they're living in a town center, hopefully they could get there
Right.
under their own power.
Exactly, without relying on busing, as you certainly know. I mean, it's non-existent in some areas, and it's really affecting the school day for so many people. So this is, such a nice contribution to kind of shifting that world a bit, which is great.
And one kind of key, another program related to that is something we call Bike Smart, which is we have 3 trailers that have 50 bikes, kid-sized bikes, helmets, all the things you need to know. And then often it's the PE teacher who is trained in the curriculum to help kids learn safer bike riding skills.
And is that a certain age, or is it more
Typically
elementary?
3rd to 5th graders.
Nice, very nice.
But it varies per school. And we reach about 10,000 students a year with that program.
So it's life-altering for
It
kids that
is.
age to
It
realize
is.
the value and enjoy that type of activity, just to be out moving. And what a great way to start the day. Obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here. I know that, but I mean, it's just, such great reinforcement about what, physical activity can do for your brain. And especially nowadays in school, I mean, kids are sitting there and they don't get a lot of activity, unfortunately, anymore. Certainly as they get older, too, it gets pretty limited within the school. Hopefully, there's extracurricular activities, but, that's a long day for kids, and kind of have the same model that we had 50 years ago, and things need to, change a bit just, with physical activity and all those benefits.
Yeah.
So, and that program runs throughout the whole school year?
It does, yep. And so the trailers will get moved around to school. We'll get it for about 2 weeks, and then
Wonderful.
it gets shifted to another school unit. And I mean, I would love to see our ideal would be, gosh, if every county or every school district had their own trailer, so we weren't having to drive it around, because that's not ideal.
Right.
But we'd love to see this program expand. So if every county had their own trailer, and then we could provide the resources and support for the curriculum on how to do that. So that's kind of a big
Great,
picture goal.
right.
But I would love every 4th grade kid in Vermont
To have that access.
Have that access.
That's fabulous. And that is then, as you say, probably folded into your strategic plan that you have. It was like a 5-year plan that you stepped into. So just to back up a little bit, you were in education.
Yep.
And then what was the turning point for you to say, local motion would be a good fit, which obviously it has turned out to be that. But what drew you to local motion?
Yeah, well, I've lived in Burlington since 2006, and I've been in higher education since that time in sustainability work, and transportation was a portion of that.
Perfect.
And I'm a daily bike or walking commuter, so that was part of my
world,
very
right.
much so, and had been a supporter of local motion for a long time. And when the opportunity came up, stars were aligning.
Exactly.
And
good timing on all the way around.
Got really lucky, yes. So I've been there for a year and a half, and it's been a really fun time to come in because there was this strategic plan that had just been passed. So it was very clear, like, what's the work? Well, there it is, it's laid out. And then part of that is celebrating our 25th anniversary, which has been super fun
so
to
joyous.
throw parties
Right,
and celebrate and acknowledge what has happened before and look to the
Where
future
you're going,
as well.
right? And how many staff members do you have?
Yeah, we've got 12 full-time year-round people and then approximately 25 part-time seasonal folks between the bike ferry and our trailside rental center. So we rent bikes on a daily basis.
So that's what I wanted to ask. So the trailside rental program, and you have electric bikes, right?
We do. We have a mixture of both e-bikes
Right.
and conventional bikes.
Oh, I can't wait to try that because I tried one real quickly that a friend had and I just loved it because it just, made me feel like I was 20 years younger. So that felt it's
revolutionary.
amazing. Exactly.
They are.
Yes.
And our mission is to make it more safe, accessible, and fun for everybody to bike, walk, and roll in Vermont. And so e-bikes are a great way of really adding the accessibility because either folks who any reason haven't been comfortable riding or able to ride a conventional
Thinking
bike.
they can't anymore, that's just not the case.
Right. It just gives you a little oomph.
When you want it too. It's like that's what I like is, you can be cruising along, but then all of a sudden it's like, you see that hill and that's where I'm like, okay, I'll turn around now. I don't have to.
Yeah, or further distance. I just spoke with someone who, lives at the bottom of the hill and works at the top of the hill, and she just recently got an e-bike, and she's like, it just makes my commute so much easier.
Right, just to enjoy it and to look forward to it, and again, to start your day that way, there's nothing better than to get some physical activity to kick it off.
Yeah.
So you always have e-bikes available then right at Local Motion?
We do, yep. That's about a third of our fleet. We rent them for
or is it like
3 hours
like
or all
afternoon?
day. Yeah,
really?
I'm sorry, I think it's, I can't remember the exact rental
but like a morning, afternoon, or you could have
all day.
the day.
Yep.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it's great. And we have people, again, coming from all over the country and locals if they have family members visiting, or they might not have access to a bike and want to try it out. And riding along the lake shore is just
that's
stunning.
an experience. It's just an experience.
It really is.
I know you feel like, just when I'm walking on the bike path, you feel like you're kind of in a movie, like it's like a postcard, it's so beautiful. And you kind of have to pinch yourself to know that this is where I live.
Every day when I commute, because I live here in the Old North End, and I ride down Depot Street and come to the lake, and every day it looks different, but it is always beautiful, and I'm so grateful.
No matter what time of year, it's so beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah, every season. So can you reserve the e-bikes?
You can, yes.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
in fact, we prefer people to reserve bikes ahead because we often sell out.
I would imagine,
on a daily basis, especially on the weekends. So people can reserve a bike
Fantastic.
up and ahead for the whole season, along the whole season lines. And then we do some walk-ins when available. And if we're full, we do recommend some of our other neighboring bike rental shops because we run out and then they're get the chance to
support one another,
get more people on bikes.
Exactly,
because that's
the goal.
ultimately what we want to do.
Right. And then, do you ever sell bikes?
Not directly. Again, we
Have resources.
encourage people to go to our local bike shops or their local bike shops at home.
Right.
We have in the past had a lending library where we were able to loan out a bike, for an e-bike specifically, for 2 weeks, and that program had to shift due to some grant funding shifting.
Right.
But we still have e-bike demos where we'll show up, and in fact, this coming weekend, our team will be at 2 different energy fairs and with a couple of different e-bikes so people can test out, and, because they all feel a little bit different.
Right.
It's nice to, if you're going to invest in something like that, to know what you want.
Exactly, and as you say, there's so many differences, even like the weight of them. Like how much would you say average the ones that you have weigh?
Oh,
Because I know some are like 65, 70 pounds.
Yeah,
so that
honestly,
makes it,
I don't know.
Right.
But
they're still heavy, right? I mean,
they're
it's pretty
heavier.
much the battery itself, like that you
Right.
can take that off. And
Yes.
how long does the charge last?
That varies on how much
You're using it, right.
and at what speed you're using it.
True.
So if you dial it back a little bit, you can use it a lot longer.
Extend your
typically.
time, right.
So I think it really varies per make and model. But I think average person daily use, you would
Few
use
hours.
it and then charge it up at night on your and then.
And that's all it needs is like through the night gets charged up.
yeah.
That's plenty.
Yep. Yeah. And there are some great rebate programs both through the state and through our local utilities, either Burlington Electric or Green Mountain Power, that offer rebates on e-bikes because these are a transportation mode. People can use them for all sorts of things, but we're really hoping they are helping to replace single occupancy vehicles.
Exactly.
And so there are a couple of different rebate programs available, and the state rebate is scalable towards someone's income as well.
Oh,
so
interesting. That's
trying
fabulous.
to, again,
Right.
that's the accessibility part, is really
Sure.
making sure that people who may not have as much expendable income can get more money to help get their transportation needs met.
Right. There was something on TV this morning that shocked me, that the average new vehicle now is $47,000. And the average used vehicle that people are buying, this is all based on 2023, is 25 some odd thousand for a used car. So, I mean, all the more reason. It's like, then that's just the beginning, as you know, because you have, all
Maintenance and all the
maintenance
gas
and in some cases, not so much here, thankfully, but parking. That's why a lot of people in cities, I mean, that's not even a consideration anymore to have a vehicle.
Yeah,
It's
well,
ridiculous. It's so cost prohibitive, really. I mean, it can be like your mortgage between, the parking and the inspections and registrations and repairs and everything else. So what a great alternative to have available.
It truly is, and we like to say, better by bike, because it often is. It can be easier, faster.
I remember right when I live in Essex, and then when I worked over at Synergy, I could get there, and I'm not a cyclist by any means. I tried to be back in the day, but now I'm just more just leisurely, love to be out there riding. But I could get there or back either way faster than I would have by car. Just you're going by all these lines of traffic at the light, and you're just kind of waving. It feels good.
It does feel good.
It does, yeah, and then all the benefits that come along with it. Obviously, in addition to the time that you save, too.
Right,
So
yeah.
talk about multifaceted, right?
Win.
Yes. So let's see. How about let's talk a little bit about volunteering opportunities, and then from there, if we could talk a little bit about donations. Like you have grants and there's federal funding and state funding, but what other types of things can we discuss and bring awareness to as far as opportunities for people to volunteer, but to also to donate? Are there events? Do you do fundraising events, or is it more just going to the site and making a donation? So if you can talk about that a little bit,
Sure.
Christina, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, our supporters come in all sorts of ways, from physical volunteering to financial donations, and all of them are essential for our continuation. And so back to the bike ferry, that program and our valet bike parking program, where we're at events and assisting people in parking their bikes and watching over while they're at events, really run on volunteers. So we have some paid staff and then a strong cadre of volunteers who help with those two particular programs, which are truly essential. We wouldn't be able to do it otherwise.
I did see on your website the person that's in charge of the valet program. So what would be an example of that? So you're off-site, you're at an event.
So yeah, you come to Jazz Fest in each June in the waterfront, and so there's a big corral set up and several bike racks.
Right,
and you
I
come
didn't
to the
realize that
table.
there was somebody that stays and so security-wise, everything.
We watch it over.
That is. How long have you been doing that?
Also since about 2012.
That really encourages
I think we just
people.
parked over 60,000, our 60,000th bike last year. So.
Again, talk about like removing barriers too. You don't even have to worry about that.
Don't have to worry about it. It's easy. You get front row parking.
Right. And again, when everybody's leaving and they're all backed up, you're just zipping right by. Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So that program is a great way to volunteer.
Absolutely.
And we also couldn't do our volunteer program without the real big support from City Market. So we are one of their partnering organizations for their member worker program. So folks, if they are a member worker of City Market, market,
Right.
they can volunteer with us and get credit toward their, if you put in 4 hours of work a month, you can get a 12% discount off your groceries. So
Oh my
talk about
goodness, what a
win-win,
great
win-win.
collaboration
So thank you,
that
City
is. So how
Market.
long has that been in place?
Several years, when their volunteer model had to shift due to some other labor laws and things.
Right.
So that's been just a major,
Brilliant.
excellent addition for
Yes.
us. And so again, everybody gets something out of it, which is really nice. And we wouldn't. It would be so much more expensive if we had to have paid staff at all of those events.
Of course.
So it's this really nice, mutually beneficial arrangement. So those are two key areas where people volunteer. But we've got lots of little things, from random packing and mailing jobs to archive assistance to tuning bikes. So the Bike Smart program that I
Right,
mentioned before,
right.
all those bikes come back. They need to get cleaned up, and you don't have to be a technical person. You can, know how to use a wet rag,
Right, make it look
and then our
good.
mechanic
Right.
can really help do the technical stuff. So those types of opportunities are there, and we have all of that posted on our website, on our volunteer section.
Good. So people can go right to the website, which is it?
Localmotion.org.
Perfect. Simple enough, right?
Yep. And there's a lot of information there,
Oh,
but
there
hopefully
sure
you can find
is.
out what you need.
I know. There's so much more than I realized.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I did get through everything, because each program's kind of exciting. So you delve into that, and then it's like you have all these other things that I need to go back to and find out some more. So it's very exciting just to
Yeah.
see how, as I said, it was always a great program and an ideal model, but to know how much it has expanded recently is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it truly is. And so, in other ways that people can get involved, our revenue streams are really three buckets. We do get some grant work from the Agency of Transportation that helps with our technical assistance in the Bike Smart program.
Right.
And some other granting agencies. And then renting bicycles is a big, another kind of third of that helps pay for our advocacy work and many of our programs. And then donations, mostly from individuals, some from businesses, but the primary bucket of our third of our revenue stream are individual donations. And so that can range from, $5 a month to $50 a year to $5,000 a year.
Exactly,
We'll take
right.
anything and appreciate all of that.
Beautiful. It's nice to word it that way, because some people feel like, oh, I don't know if it's worth it, and as you say, it is.
Every penny
dollar,
counts
yes,
for us.
absolutely.
I mean, literally, we're like, if we see a penny on the ground, we're like, hey, we'll put it in the pot. But
love
bigger
it.
pennies would be nice. It makes
Right.
it easier when we don't have to do it that way. But it truly does make a difference from that. And we have a variety of standard appeals that we'll put out, campaigns throughout the year, where we're seeking and soliciting donations. We have monthly donor programs where you can set it and forget it, like many of us have become accustomed to for other organizations.
Right.
And we actually just launched in our 25th, as part of our 25th anniversary, a new leadership giving circle and a legacy campaign where for folks who maybe have been with us since the beginning and want to see Local Motion move to the next 25 years, they can remember us in their will or other ways too. So we're any and all things are welcome.
Right. And it's nice just to have that variety, because, for every person, every family, what they can contribute is different. And as you say, to be able to be hands-on and to be there helping out, and it sounds as though there's obviously a variety of different activities, but even time-wise, you could do a day, you could do more.
Yes.
There's not really any major criteria that you need to deal with. So
Yeah,
that's
very
appealing.
flexible.
Right. You can't beat that. I love it. And then, so do you have any fundraising events? Are there?
We do on occasion, and so actually part of our 25th anniversary is we just had a few signature events this summer, and so we had what we called the Quarter Century event, where we tried to make it as flexible as possible for either people who wanted to bike or walk or roll, and either picking what we called the Quarter Century, like a 25-mile, I think it was actually 28, or a 2.5-mile section. And so most people opted in for the Quarter Century, and so they were going between our headquarters on the Burlington waterfront up to Snow Farm Vineyard in South Hero,
Beautiful.
utilizing the bike ferry. And it was a gorgeous day. There was some rain, but people were still very happy to get up there,
I bet.
try a little Snow Farm Vineyards wine.
What a great destination, right?
It was great. Yeah. So that was a fundraising event, and then our anniversary party. And so we have a few, I'd say, more one-off events like that are fundraising events. But we also just try to have a lot of community-raising events. And so we have a monthly bike ride called the Easy Breezy Ride, where people can come on the last Tuesday of the month and ride with us. And it's very casual. This is not a go fast ride. It is.
Is it on the bike path or?
It varies.
Yeah.
So our team picks different routes that
Love
are.
it. And how long will you ride for?
An hour.
Beautiful.
At a gentle speed.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
We'll show up at other people's events when they invite us to participate, like in these energy fairs or those types of things.
Right.
So, and then we're hopefully this winter we'll probably have a couple, like a travel talk to inspire, or like I went to these places and saw these amazing bike infrastructures or pedestrian pieces. Couldn't we have that here? Or sometimes we have film nights or other things to keep the inspiration and motivation alive.
Right, and what a network for people to, find, other like-minded individuals, new friendships that can form, and new business opportunities that can come about with all that positive energy. I mean, what a, I'm sure you just treasure every moment of, just that vibe is so good, and to be so thankful. And, it's the same with me, having been in the fitness industry. You just are so thankful for those years of being with people that just, embrace that opportunity and feel so fortunate to be able to be active. And, you just couldn't ask for a better career, in that sense.
It's absolutely true.
Right. It's like you're, getting to, people are like, oh, well, it's fun. Well, there is that business side of it. So, behind the scenes, I know very well that it's not always, fun and games by any means, but when it comes out to the public, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And to be a part of, and be so instrumental in having that happen has to be so rewarding.
It is. And I'd say from the personal level to very intentionally, talking about building community and supporting communities. I mean, so I look at my daily commute or my walk around the block or my bike there, I am much more likely and able to say hello, acknowledge my neighbors or other people than a car zipping through and being a little more anonymous that way. So
you mean the car that's zipping through when they're on their phone? Yeah, that one? Yeah, so like you say, for so many reasons, when you're out there and you can wave to somebody, there's so much good to be said for that.
A lot.
Oh, so, absolutely.
And there's a lot of social science behind that too, of just the greater engagement and the slower speed that one might be walking or rolling or biking that you can absorb and interact with and stop at a business or those types of things.
Right. That you didn't even know was there when you were driving by.
Right.
You kind of like introduce yourself to your surroundings because everything looks so different when you're on a bike or if you're walking or rolling or anything like that versus when you're zipping by in the car. So there's so much to be said for that. And we do have to wrap up. We're in our last minute, but you segued into such a good point with, the science behind it, because this is unbelievable that the Explora Science Museum in Albuquerque, if you get a chance to Google that or even to go to the Jennifer Reardon Foundation website too, there highlights Explora, and they just opened, there was a reception last night and it's open to the public on Friday, The Science of Kindness. Oh my goodness, these exhibits within the exhibition are unbelievable as far as how stress and different things, and you can see how it's affecting your brain, and you see this interaction, and when you do something kind, how it obviously, is great to do that for somebody just naturally, but how good that makes you feel even the next day or whatever, and the benefits of that. So this just ties in so well. That's why I thought, what a great opportunity to get to talk to you about that world, because some people have never been exposed to it. And it just opens up those opportunities for relationships and to be able to talk to somebody instead of, being on the horn and getting mad as well. You're out there and you're just, taking it all in, and it just changes who we are as people. And when you understand the value of kindness, it's not something, I think years ago people thought it might be kind of fluffy or whatever, and it's not. I mean, it's critical and it's crucial. And, as I said, this exhibit that Explora has done, with the Jennifer Reardon Foundation is just fabulous. I mean, I can't wait to get out there. I was in there, back there, kind of in the beginning stages, and they had like Santa's workshop in the back, making all these different things and testing all these different things, and all the there's actually University of California, Berkeley has a track for business and kindness, so that you can be more successful in business if you approach that with kindness, as far as the way you manage people and your team and how you collaborate with other businesses. It's not like it was years ago where it's like, well, this is what we do.
Right.
It's how does it benefit you and benefit me, and that's the way it can be done. And then, especially for somebody like you, that's what makes it sustainable. When you can feel the good that is coming from it, personally, as well as, the outcomes that exist, it's just a nice world to be in. And,
it is.
And that's up to us.
Yeah, and
Right?
we're trying to play our little part in that, and making it safer through infrastructure, so that more people can get out and feel comfortable
Safely, as
being
you say,
there.
right.
Yeah.
And Jen's mantra is always, to be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. And so this kind of encapsulates everything, that ties into all of those traits. And, again, we're just, so fortunate to be living at a time where this is so prevalent. And it really feels like we've turned the corner, and it's become a part of so many different, pieces of our lives, instead of just, when you're not working, you can be kind. But now it's like that's who you are all day long, Exactly. Well, thank you so very much, Christina. This is awesome. I can't believe the half hour's up. I know we need to. We need to start. I know it does. It flies by, and I would love it if maybe next year we can touch base again and do a little follow up. Would be great. What are the winters like? What do you do during the winter months?
Well, so that's when a lot of our legislative work happens.
Sure.
So we, once the State House opens,
right.
I mean, we're doing a lot of the prep work now, but then we try to have a small presence at least, and with a coalition of others being at the State House and really working on the nitty gritty and in the policy, and with our partners at VTrans on some of the policy pieces.
Wonderful.
And practices there. So, and then the school programs go year round.
Right.
And we take a breath after the big after the big summer season, and a lot of the planning goes in at that time. But we work year round.
Oh, right.
And more and more people are walking and biking year round.
Right.
So we recognize that.
Make it work. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. I am so happy to meet you, and hopefully continue to chat with you about different things, perhaps doing some volunteering, and I certainly will spread the word and get some friends out there, because we've all talked about, getting some e-bikes. So I would love to be able to go through you and help out in that way.
That's great.
Good.
Please do, anytime.
Well, thank you so very much, and we'll get together again.
I love it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.